Howdy, guys. Welcome back. It's been a little bit of time. So, can I pin this? No, I gotta go into it. So, hello everyone. Welcome in. Gosh, they changed the setup on me within 2 months. They changed things on me. That's insane. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Cool. So, howdy, yo, guys. Welcome. Oops. Sorry, almost did a bad thing. But making sure everything's queued up. Wow, it doesn't even say I'm live on Twitter. I am on live Twitter. Hold on, I'm on Twitter, right? Right, guys? I'm on Twitter. I gotta be. I gotta be. I gotta be. I put in the things. Wait, over here. Yeah, it says I'm on Twitter. Let me pop it in, pop out. Oh, that never says it. What am I doing? All right. Interesting, say the least. Very well. Very well, guys. So, anyways, howdy, y'all, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. So, guys, it's been getting, it's been getting, um, it's been getting real. Campaign has gotten real. Starting March, it got real. It got very real, and not even in a. I don't even mean that in a joking way. I mean, like, it got real. We're campaigning. We have the campaign starting. Eli Richard for House District 6 is operational as we speak. If you guys want to look at what I'm campaigning on, it is in the chat box. Eli Richard for okhouse.com. It is where you'll find most of stuff about me. But for tonight, I am planning to just be out here, being able to answer any questions. If any Oklahoman wishes to ask me anything, plus we're going to react to the governor's forum that went on. So, one, because I will have to vote on a governor, and two, because I think it would be interesting to get my perspective on it. If the questions are relevant to my potential office as well. So, I'm just gonna get straight into it. Full knowledge, I do have the Raptor game on in the other monitor, but my focus will be on this. So let's get going, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day, and it's about to get funnier because I'm here and you tuned in. So, anyways, and yeah, guys, I talked about finding information about me. I actually need your help. Within the end of March, I'm gonna have to file April 1st, literally April Fool's Day. I have to file. I need about $500 to file, and then another 130 just to do the ethics committee registration. So I have a donation link on my site. Please hit that up if you can, and please and thank you. So, anyways, I'm gonna get straight into it, guys. Let's go. Let's see how fun this is gonna be. And hopefully it's not gonna be too cringe. And it's I recorded it. It's only like 2 hours, and I'm gonna have to skip some of it because when I was watching it stream or watching it recording briefly, because everything's raw. I have no idea about what's coming up here too much. I saw that there was like a brief time where nothing was going on, so it'll be less than 2 hours. But I'll probably talk about stuff, so I'll be here for at least 2 hours probably. So no, don't want to scare anyone, but that's just how long it was. So, anyways, let's get into it.
The pledge, Mr. Vince Scopus.
Please join me and face the flag of the greatest nation that ever existed on this.
Oh, and I should mention that I won. I need to swap these. I didn't want to, but furthermore, I think I put it to 1.5 speed, so that's why he sounds quick. So, anyways, let's get it.
Planet, salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if you'll please remain standing to welcome our governor, Kevin Stitt.
Hot water, he's been in late.
Hey, everybody, have a seat.
Oh, no.
Man, it's so great to, there's the Lieutenant Governor. How you doing, sir? Man, it's so great to be here tonight with everybody. I am just filled with great gratitude for the honor to serve as your governor. As I reflect on the past 7 years, I'm so proud of everything that we've accomplished together. Oklahoma is truly a shining city on the hill.
I won't say anything. Not yet. Not yet.
And during America's 250th year as a nation, I'm so proud that the way Oklahoma is shining right now. Oklahoma is not just part of our country's American dream story. We are its purest expression. Our story is one built on gritty ambition. It's a story where nothing was given, but everything is possible. Where your future could be determined not by your circumstances of your birth, instead by what you're willing to work hard to build. That spirit, that belief, that opportunity is earned, not inherited, and that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to is the heartbeat of the United States of America and the heartbeat of the Republican Party. And that spirit is really what has always defined the great state of Oklahoma. And that's why I'm so proud to lead the state that I grew up in. When I ran for governor 8 years ago, I was running against the establishment.
Yeah. You know, I voted for Stitt twice. I freely admit. No, actually, I voted for him once. Sorry, misspoke. I voted for him once. I voted for a different guy for governor afterwards. What's funny is he said he's going against the establishment. He literally said that he was okay. Like, he basically is okay with the illegal immigrants that are plaguing our country now. So I don't know how much you really want to say I'm fighting the establishment. The establishment kind of wants the illegals, bro. So, yeah, you may have went in to fight them. You're not now.
Never held public office before. I had never ran for anything, but I was tired of Oklahoma not winning.
Hey, that's me. Except I'm not going to be a traitor.
When I entered office, we were facing $1 billion budget deficit. Y'all remember that 8 years ago? Teacher walkouts, zero money in savings, and I promised to make Oklahoma a top 10 state. In practice, it meant shaking up the status quo and approaching things with a business mindset and a fresh set of eyes.
Best in the state, 50th in education. Now, of course, the numbering, yeah, I know people. I don't know where that number is coming from necessarily, but everyone keeps saying that we're low in education. What are you doing? You were governor for 8 years. It's kind of on you.
And that's how you solve problems and ultimately deliver a turnaround. And that's exactly what we've done. And now Oklahoma is stronger than it's ever been. We've gone from budget deficits to historic savings. In 2019, with zero money in reserves, I insisted that we limit spending and we build up our savings account. I promised Oklahoma, I remember at the time, I thought about a number. I said, let's save $2 billion. And some of the newspapers were like, there's no possible way. We had zero money in savings. Well, here's what we did. We shattered that record. We peaked out at $5.5 billion, holding the largest savings in state history. We reined in government spending and we maintained low unemployment, all while cutting taxes. So in my time as governor, we've cut $1.6 billion in taxes, including doing away with the grocery tax and cutting business taxes by 2%. That's really the free market at work. And Oklahomans are feeling the benefits of more money in their pockets. Right now, we have increased our median income. I have a scorecard, governor's scorecard that we track everything. $11,000 the median income has gone up over the last 7 years. Now we've got more people moving to Oklahoma than ever before. Our population continues to grow, with Oklahoma ranking top 10 in net migration. Throughout my administration, I've been so proud to stand up for the conservative values that define our state. In fact, I see him sitting right here.
I didn't realize conservative values meant allowing illegal immigrants to become citizens of the United States. Sorry, just have to say that, Governor, with all due respect, I don't think you want to talk about what is considered a conservative principle after that. But anyways, have fun.
Very first bill I signed, February of 2019, it was his idea, yeah. 2A, great job, was constitutional carry. Constitutional carry. It was my first bill, and it's also constitutional carry. So that is the actual bill that I have framed hanging in my home office. I've also been proud to lead Oklahoma defending the sanctity of life, making us the most pro-life state in the entire country.
Okay. I can't say anything right now because I'm still in the Project Dark Side. But um, if if I if I can do the project as I think I can, that's gonna be a host of shit. No disrespect actually intended. Yeah, disrespect to the governor. Yeah, he's not going to. That's not true. We're not the pro life. The most we may be most pro life comparatively to everyone in the states, but we're not pro life. Oklahoma is not pro life, and I will explain this soon. I need to talk to one guy to get the project going on. So yeah, I'm not gonna say too much, but I'm just gonna say that's a papa horse shit.
As governor, I promised to sign every piece of pro-life legislation that hit my desk. I've kept
Okay, I just like to report that what he just said. So sorry, I know I said I wasn't gonna say much, but he says I'm gonna sign every piece of pro-life legislation that hits my desk. Right? That's what he says. The that hits my desk means that if the House kills it in committee, that he wouldn't be signing it, right? So he may not actually. It's all well. If it hits my desk, I'm gonna sign the pro-life bill, but it's not. I'm gonna actively pursue pro-life agenda. He's able to get away with not saying that he's going to do more, and he's just going to be a passive pro-life person. So, anyways,
kept that promise. I was the first governor to ban abortion after the Dobbs decision. Before I signed that bill, 5,000 kids were aborted the year before, 0 today in the state of Oklahoma.
yeah, that's again, I'm not going to get into the project, but that potentially is a lie. There's zero abortions in the state of Oklahoma. That's a lie. I should know. I've been doing my research. I know. That's a that's an effing lie. Like that's a freaking lie. That's and this ain't like, I can maybe excuse some of these other lies that may be popping out of his mouth. That's a lie. And that is a lie that means dead babies. Um yeah, I'll get into it later in a completely different video, but yeah, that's a lie. Zero abortions in the state of Oklahoma is a lie. We still have abortions going on in Oklahoma. So,
I also issued an executive order that stopped money from going to Planned Parenthood. I've stood for common sense and signed an executive order keeping boys out of girls' sports. And so when you're hiring a governor, you're hiring a CEO for the state. We have 30,000 state employees, a $40 billion budget. And when I took office, many of the state agencies were run by untouchable bureaucrats who were unaccountable to the people of Oklahoma. So I pushed for hire and fire authority of many of the largest state agencies, so we could better align with the vision to stop growing government. Okay, I'm so proud to announce that when I leave office in January of 27, we will have fewer state employees than when I took office in 2019. No other governor in the country can say that. We've brought alignment and accountability to state government. For instance, take the Department of Corrections, for example. They're once overrun and riddled by out-of-control spending. When I got here in 2019, the appropriation request from Department of Corrections was $1 billion increase. They wanted to build more prisons. In my time as governor, we've closed 4 prisons. We've reduced the prison population by 5,000 people, all while maintaining one of the lowest recidivism rates in the country. This has saved the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's contributed also to a really strong workforce in our state. We work to bring the 5 largest agencies, including the Department of Health, under the authority of the governor to create alignment and accountability. This proved so prophetic when COVID hit us a year after that. Oklahomans, literally, we could have been held hostage. We were kind of held hostage with the Tulsa and the Oklahoma City Department of Health, which is separate from the state. But I cannot imagine not having an alignment with the Department of Health in the state of Oklahoma. We got that changed. Instead, Oklahomans could have been held hostage. I was one of the only governors at that time that refused to do a mask mandate statewide. Because
I not to rain parade on the governor, but I went to OSU wearing a mask, so for 2 years. So, is there anything you could have done there? Could you? You couldn't pressure the state with. You couldn't make the state funded university not do that. Um, like I'm just gonna say. See, what's funny is I'm listening to some of this stuff, and it's like they're saying stuff that sounds good, but they're not presenting the entire argument in order to make them appear better. Um, Yeah, just like I freely, and this is why I think I'm different, is like, I'm young. I admit that I'm a young guy. I'm running for office. That's like the first thing I think people will think negative about me is the fact that I'm young. But, I freely admit that because I am. I'm not walking away from it. I'm 24. What do you expect? But, with my age comes no strings and nothing more than to do the good, which you can't say the same about some of the older timer Republicans who show up, who've had businesses, families, who have more of a connection to Oklahoma, and thus more attachment, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like with in those stories of like the heroes and how like, oh, the villain won't strike. I'm saying Green Goblin advice. It's the Green Goblin advice where Green Goblin's like, you don't strike the hero, you go after his heart, and then you go after Gwen or Mary Jane or Aunt May. You don't go after Spider Man. That's essentially the problem here. Is that I have to be attacked because I have nothing to be. But anyways, I'll let the governor continue. It's only 5 minutes. Oh no.
Because here's the deal. We don't put our Constitution in the attic just because somebody in Washington, D.C. tells us to. We believe in states' rights. We trusted Oklahomans to make the right decision, and they proved us correct. Education has been another area of transformation. We've ended the days when a child's zip code determined their destiny. We've expanded school choice, whether by supporting charter schools or delivering a tax credit that empowers parents to choose the education that's right for their kids. Here's what I always say. Rich people already have school choice. They move to the best neighborhoods. They put their kids in the best private schools. Their kids are getting bullied. They can move them. We now have school choice for every single Oklahoman. Speaking of states' rights, Oklahoma has led the way in protecting our border. The Biden administration, with its open border policies, was an absolute disaster for America. So I sent the Oklahoma National Guard to Texas to secure the border. Also signed legislation banning sanctuary cities in Oklahoma. I'm proud to stand with you in this room who want serious enforcement, serious accountability, and serious protection of American jobs and American elections. As soon as President Trump was elected, I set up Operation Guardian. And now we are number 3 in the entire country in true numbers for apprehensions of illegal immigrants with criminal records, turning them over to ICE, only behind Texas and Florida.
Those numbers are though down from how much we were supposed to get though. And what was the other thing that you were saying? He was saying something else that I was gonna besmirch him on. Gosh, I'm gonna have to move this back, aren't I? Okay, 6:46 is the time before. Damn. Okay, there's just so much time. I'm not going to be able to do it. Gosh, what was he saying? Something about ICE. Oh, the illegals. Bro literally said it was okay to have the illegals come in because he didn't think that they're not going to become voters or whatever was the thing. So,
And everybody knows Texas and Florida is a much bigger state than us, right? So we're number 1 per capita, but we're number 3 in the entire country. But that's real results. And that's why it's so important tonight that you're vetting and electing people with integrity. When the going gets tough, not those beholden to special interest groups. And I just applaud you for being here, for knowing what's happening in not only in your cities and your towns in Oklahoma, but also in the country. Well, I'm on the topic of immigration. I believe we should end birthright citizenship. We're one of the only. I've been saying that publicly. We're one of the only few countries that do that. I support E-Verify. I support any taxpayer-funded subsidies for jobs filled by visa holders because Oklahoma's tax dollars should go to create Oklahoma jobs for Oklahomans.
but sorry, I gotta look this up. At this point. I gotta look this up at this point. Is bruh literally lying in front of a bunch of people? Uh, Visas, illegals would probably be the best word for me. Darn. What did he when how long ago did he say that? He said it briefly ago. Gosh. I love how I'm just scrolling through my Twitter right now and just trying to find it. I found that at least. Was that during this time? Sorry, folks. I know dead air. Dead air is not supposed to be a thing, but I'm looking for it. Darn. I either skip by it or I tweet too much. One of the two, or both. So, yeah, he wants to though get rid of the H-1B visas. You were governor for 8 years. Is there a reason that you can deal with it then? Uh, you want to create jobs for Oklahomans, but there's plenty of jobs just filled with illegals. You know, Trump was literally saying, like, with the what was it, the hotel and staff, where it's like, well, who's going to do the hotels? Who's going to do the laundry? Um, because there's a lot of illegals there. The hotel industry is not is suffering because of that. Um, I'm just gonna say there if he's going to be walking around here and say, oh well, we're gonna get rid of this and do this and this. He's got like January and he's done. Is there a reason that you couldn't do this for 7 years? Because you failed to do it in 7 years. If he runs for any office after this is gonna be a negative on his record.
I stand with Speaker Kyle Hilbert in ending welfare for non-citizens. Taxpayers.
Oh gosh. I talked about this with a guy when I was on the campaign trail because the Oklahoma House has said that they are ending welfare for non-citizens, aka the illegals. I'm sorry, but if we're sending welfare checks to illegals, I think with that next check of $0, we should send ICE with them. I don't know why we're allowing we had to write a bill saying you shouldn't be giving state funds from taxpayers that benefits everyone but taxpayers welfare for these illegals. I'm sorry, but aren't we supposed to get rid of the illegals? Is that not the goal? Okay, let's continue. What else?
Taxpayer-funded benefits should be for citizens in our country. However, some in our own party went to court to stop Oklahoma from participating in a program that would ensure people aren't holding driver's licenses in multiple states. This is a matter of election integrity, and it's a matter of welfare security.
Hold on. Sorry. I think if I hit this up. Sorry, it's a recent thing. I know it's a recent thing. So, there was a bill, I think from what's his name? Ron Paul in the Senate. Yeah, this would be the Senate. And he was saying how Republicans, senators, voted on ending welfare for refugees. And Langford and Mullen both voted against the bill. So they sided with Murkowski and McConnell, Grassley, like some of these guys that are not exactly the prime conservative candidates. So just saying, like, and we got one of them still in office. We got one of them who's going to leave, and then his replacement is going to be someone else. Hopefully not Hearn, because Hearn was a coward.
If you hold an ID in 2 states, that means you can vote in 2 states, and you can get welfare benefits in 2 states. That's unacceptable. Here's one clear example. When I instituted and had the Highway Patrol do sting operations with ICE along I-40, we found out that the state of New York was issuing driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. And as a state, we need to enter into partnerships that allow us to detect fraud and abuse with government IDs. The only 2 states that aren't doing that right now are California and Illinois. I don't want Oklahoma to look anything like California. I want us to continue to lead the nation in the most secure and transparent elections. In closing, I'm so thankful for your trust in me and helping me hold elected officials accountable for limited government and lower taxes. Over the years, I've vetoed multiple spending bills that have added to our reoccurring expenses, yet many of those vetoes were overridden. Tallying it all up, and I said this in my State of the State, I made some of the legislators upset. I wasn't trying to. I'm just trying to let people know how important this is. I went back, had my team tally up every veto that I did for spending that they overrode, and it added up to $800 million of spending of the taxpayer money. That's enough to get another 1 point off of our income tax. We have to hold our elected officials accountable, not just because they have an R by their name. You need to know who they are. You need to know how they're voting.
Like, he's right, but here's the thing. I'm gonna share an image. I'm prepared. I'm prepared for tonight without knowing I'm prepared for tonight. Where would that be? It would be on my desktop. Look for the folder right here. So this is what I want. I want to share this. So this, for those of you who are in Oklahoma, this is the Republican. Excuse me. Sorry, Dr. Pepper. Excuse me, Dr. Pepper came back. This is the care ratios of the Republican Party during a primary. Now, I kept this within the 3 election cycles of the governor race. So Stitt was elected in 2018. In 2022, there was a midterm where he was running for re-election, and then 2014 was Fallon's re-election. Excuse me. Now, what's ironic is my incumbent, he was also elected in 2018. So I'm wondering if there was this surge of conservatism and then like it's kind of filtered out. But only about 40%, maybe 40% of Republicans are actually going to show up for the election, for my election and for others. And the reason being that the 60%, they just don't care. Like they're registered to vote. They just don't care to show up for the primary. So kind of rough. Just saying. Good grief. Sorry, allergy is messing me up there. So yeah, if it's truly like Oklahoma needs to deal with this, Oklahoma doesn't give a shit. That's just what it is at the end of the day. Which is sad. Oklahoma should be given a crap, but more than half of our Republican brethren would rather not care about primaries, and thus they kind of leave the government in its sorry state. Like, I'll be honest, and this is why I'm like, I'm not a politician, and if I had a guy politically with me, he probably would be saying I shouldn't be saying this, but it's kind of on Oklahoma for the problems that we're facing. Like, you can blame the elected officials, but they're elected by whom? Us. So, anyways,
We've shown the nation that limited government, lower taxes, and family values, it actually grows the state. It grows the economy. We proved that it works. We had a $14 billion record investment in Oklahoma last year. Our revenue continues to go up, even though we've cut taxes by $1.6 billion. And more people across America are moving towards freedom, opportunity, and the values that we hold here in Oklahoma. People are attracted to what we're building here. We've come a long way, but I believe our best days are still ahead of us. Together, we're going to keep building our state that our children and our grandchildren are proud to call home. Thank you so much for making Oklahoma the best state to live, to work, and to raise a family. God bless you guys tonight, and God bless the great state of Oklahoma. Thank you. I don't know why I was nervous coming up here to see everybody tonight. The guys running I'm already governor. These guys should be the nervous ones. So good luck to all the candidates that are here, and I know Oklahomans will make a great decision. God bless you.
Hopefully.
Well, guys, we are the most conservative state in the union. When I go to the RNC, I get to brag to them. All 77 counties voted for Trump 3 times.
Okay. I'm only going to say this. So I'm not particularly the greatest advocate of Trump, but here's the thing. When she's talking about all 77 counties voted for Trump, have you looked at the gas? The gas is $3.30. It used to be like 2 something, $2.30. Now it's like $1 more now. I don't know if she really wants to be championing that. Like, I don't know if she really wants to be championing that we all voted for Trump because we're kind of having, problems where we're all having to spend more. Inflation's still high. Young people can't get houses, and thus they're not getting married. And then, of course, our jobs are being stolen by foreigners. So, just want to say that. Like, I don't know how much you really want to say, Charity. I know her name, Charity. Charity Lynch. Yeah, I don't know how much you really want to be championing that. Oh, we all voted for Trump. It's like, yeah, but we're not really conservative as a state, even though we have the numbers that would suggest otherwise. We're kind of a passive conservatism, which is kind of problematic. So, anyways.
Times. And then we'll have a few of them that try to argue that they are the most conservative. And I say, yeah, but I can carry a gun in my purse without permission. Can you do that? That's the end of it. I win. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with food. The food line is going to be right out here. So what we would like is for the first 4 tables to go. When they come back, then the next 4. That way we don't have a line that's going out the door and back. And then the next 4 and the next 4. It shouldn't take that long. Everybody's adults. You can police yourselves. So please line up and let's get our food so we can get moving. Thank you.
Okay. I think this is during the time that everyone was just hurling around.
And let's remember that.
Okay. We're getting there. We're at half 30 minutes. About 25% of the way through. So,
Going to champion our American Oklahoma values. Those are biblical values.
okay. Biblical values, though. No offense, but the biblical kind of has connotations to it. So, but anyways, okay, guys. We gotta get into it somewhere. Slowly but surely. Oh, speaking again.
Okay, can everyone please take their seats?
No.
Okay. Okay, is that getting any feedback? We good? Okay. Oh, that might be helpful, huh? Okay, we got it? Okay, guys. Well, I really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. It's just so important that we keep Oklahoma red. It's not just Oklahoma that depends on us being a conservative state. It's the rest of the nation.
Okay, I doubt that line, but okay. But yeah, Charity, if you really want to talk about I'm thankful everyone comes out to make us red. This is the current makeup in the past decade of the party system. As you can tell, guys, Republicans are on the up and up. Democrats are dropping like flies. And the independents are going up. So either the Democrats are becoming Republicans or independents. But we're also getting a lot of people signing up. So, whether or not how this differential is going is kind of on. It needs more than just the party numbers. And these are registered. These are registered Republicans, mind you. But excuse me. But yeah, we are very conservative. For crying out loud, we're at like 1.3 million Oklahomans. They're almost at 600. We have a 2-to-1 ratio on them. So we should be fine. But just saying. But let's keep it.
When we are the most conservative state in the union, it's up to us to draw that.
No. We should be the most conservative state in the union, but we have a lot of passive conservatism in this state. A lot of Oklahomans, I feel like, do not actually want to advance a conservative agenda. They want to go on to, Fox News and talk about their agenda, but not necessarily do the agenda. It's kind of like introducing a bill, but then it's like it dies in committee, and then you don't ever bring it up again until re-election, and then you do it again to be like, that's why you should keep me elected. It shouldn't work like that. But anyways, we should be the reddest state in the union. If anything, we should be maroon. We could do whatever the hell we want in the state house and all. So, like we can veto the governor, like if we truly tried. We have 80 Republicans in the state house, and then the Senate is got to be somewhere near the same percentage. So
That line. If we're not drawing the line, no one else is. And so we've got to make sure that we have representation that is going to champion our American Oklahoma values. Those are biblical values. Those are the Republican values. And so it's important.
Republican values means bringing Dave Rubin on to talk about gay surrogacy. That means bringing on Scott Pressler, who is a active homosexual. Those types of biblical conservative values. Yeah, no.
Important who we pick. And with that, I want to welcome our incredible Lieutenant Governor, Matt Pinnell, to the stage. He's agreed to moderate tonight. And if our candidates would please join us on stage, we have you seated up here. Did you guys not put the nameplates? They have you in alphabetical order. So, here, Sarah's, she's got where everyone is going in alphabetical order.
So, Drummond is to the
Round of applause
left.
for our chairwoman, Charity Lynch.
There's McCarrick.
All right, as we get everybody seated here, want to say thank you for everybody that is came out this evening. As Charity said, when she asked me to do this, I said yes because Charity asked. I say yes to Charity. I say yes to our state party. But I said yes because political parties still matter in the state of Oklahoma. They still matter. And let's remember that throughout this year and beyond. I've been involved in our party here in Oklahoma for the last 25 years, from the precinct level all the way to a statewide elected official. So I know Charity's job well. I had her job as the Oklahoma Republican Party chair a long, long time ago, but it was still one of the more impactful jobs that I ever had because I got to meet a lot of the people in this room that are still involved, still blazing the trail. All of these candidates know how important the Oklahoma Republican Party is, and that's why they are here this evening. So let's give these candidates a round of applause for being here and showing up. They showed up. And showing up is not half the battle. It's not, I mean, the battle that you're all going through right now, but it's a big deal for you all to be here and support the Republican Party that's going to help whoever our Republican nominee is. So whoever this candidate is, the OK GOP, that's when they go to work and they help our nominees all across the ballot. So we're going to jump into it, but I'm going to throw out some ground rules. First off, the candidates, this is the most important person in the room right here, the timekeeper. Round of applause for the timekeeper. He has 2 cards, okay? There's only 2 cards. 30 seconds, you got 30 seconds left, and time ending. When time's ending, I'm gonna go to the next candidate, no matter where you are in your sentence, okay? We gotta move because we got a lot of candidates. But this is who, again, you need to know and looking to this person. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes for an opening statement and 3 minutes for your closing statement. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each question that I am going to ask. This is a forum, not a debate, so there will not be rebuttal time. Candidates can address anything in the next question or your closing statements, depending upon, again, what candidates say. You all get.
That seems kind of dumb. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of dumb. Like, if you're gonna make pop shots, you kind of need a little bit of time to, like, it depends on the type of pot shot, right? Like, if you're gonna take a jab, okay, it's a jab. But if it's going to be like a full on, like, well, I'm better than this guy, then yeah, that needs rebuttal time. But anyways, yeah. I know early in my campaign, people were telling me never go negative. But I think there's a time that, like, there are some things it's like, it's not really negative, it's just fact. And it's just like, I'm negative for bringing it up. So
Get the ground rules here. That was not the timekeeper. Ignore that. We don't have a bell, although a bell would have been maybe a good idea, the dinner bell. No, don't listen to when things get dropped on the floor. And please continue to eat. But yes, silence your phones if you haven't already. Please do that. You can take as many pictures as you want. Here's also a key point. The forum is recorded. Media outlets are present and live streaming this event. But the OK GOP will publish the full recording of this forum on Monday, March 2nd. Okay, so this will be preserved. It will be posted so that every voter in the state of Oklahoma can certainly listen to our candidates. With that, let's get into opening statements. We're going to start with General Drummond and then go down this way. So, General Drummond, you are first.
General. It's Gettner Drummond. Sorry. I don't like Gettner Drummond, but, like, bruh, get the name right. Yeah. So we have you know what, we'll go through the names. But I've already gone through some of these people. Only 2 of those people on stage. The second person and the last person, I just didn't do any research on because when I found out why they were running, I immediately just said no. She might say it, and if she says it, I'm gonna laugh, and you'll know why.
First with your opening statement.
Thank you, Matt. To the GOP, thank you so much for organizing this event and for all of you engaged citizens for being present. I'm Gettner Drummond. I'm your Attorney General. Grew up in Osage County, where Wendy and I live to this day. After college, I served in our military for 8 years as a fighter pilot, and 36 years ago, I was over Baghdad. And I'm thinking of the men and women tonight representing our armed forces over Tehran. So I ask that you continue to remember them in your prayers. Of those seeking office, I'm the only one who's fought in combat, and that has guided how I make decisions the rest of my life. As Attorney General, we have aligned with and are putting Oklahomans first. You've witnessed the takedown of thousands and thousands of syndicated crime organizations, Chinese syndicated crime organizations, Mexican cartels.
Just not to break his thunder, but I'm pretty sure that one of the cartel members got off on a $100,000 bond because Drummond just didn't show up to court, or the AG didn't show up to court. I thought that was a thing, which makes sense because he's too busy campaigning. Because he never wanted to be AG, he just wanted to be governor. So
We are taking back our land. We are driving them from our borders. We are collaborating with ICE, where we deport about 25 Chinese a week. We're bringing the fight to the battle. We align with President Trump in that borders matter. Law enforcement matters.
He brought up Trump immediately. Immediately had to bring in Trump to save face. That's one thing that I have a problem with. Like, I've been at a few campaign stops and I've listened to some of these other guys talk, especially governor candidates, and they all want to bring in Trump as somehow that's going to be their saving grace. I think if you're doing that, it's kind of lazy. And two, what does it change who you are? It doesn't. If you say like I like Trump, it doesn't do anything to you. It doesn't age you. It's just a fun tidbit. Like, I want to know you, not necessarily like, oh, you love Trump and you want to be his, fourth wife. I don't, I don't care about that. I want to see you talk about what you're gonna do, and he's just spent 5 seconds talking about Trump instead of himself.
Accountability matters. And that's what you get as an attorney general. That's what you'll get as governor. But Oklahoma families need protection. Your pocketbooks are being squeezed. Our taxes are not being directed where they should be. We have mismanagement and squandering in our state, and we need to covet every tax dollar. As governor, I will put Oklahoma first. I will put you before party elites. I will put you before lobbyists. I will put you before corporate out-of-state powers. We must protect our families. And by doing that, we will align the needs and the values of the state and drive out those that injure us and bring great benefit to our children and our grandchildren. Wendy and I have 6 children. All are married. We have 7 grandchildren. We'll probably have another 7 before it's all said and done. And that's a compelling reason why I'm seeking to be your governor. I greatly value this state. I love it. After the military, we came back and built businesses. We've run cattle. We continue to live on that cattle ranch. And we owe back to the state of Oklahoma a great blessing. We have been richly blessed since the 1890s when we came from Scotland. And I look forward to giving back in a continued role. I've only been elected once, and I've only served 3 years. So I consider myself a novice, but I believe I'm well trained to step forward and serve you as governor. And I hope that at the end of this evening, I've earned your vote. Thank you.
Okay. The only thing I'll say there is, one, the same thing that I mentioned when I did a governor review. If you truly wanted to be in politics, why did you wait until you were 60 something? Because I'll be honest, like you got all the fruits of the private sector, and now that everything's kind of aligned, you want to solve the problems of the world. Problems that you probably were very much aware of, right? Like these problems haven't been like, yesterday's issue. These have been yesterday's issues. So where was your concern then? You know, then of course, if you know anything about Drummond, there's kind of some like Democrat past he's got. So, I thought there was one other thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, I think that's good.
Lisa Haynes. Ms. Haynes.
Hi, you all. My name is Lisa Mitchell Haynes, and I'm running for governor. In 3rd grade, God told me I would be a governor.
Oh no, she did. Damn, first sentence in. She literally introduced herself, and the next word is, God told me that I would be governor. Okay, theologically, I don't know if she really wants to start saying that because I would assume that she is a Protestant. It's Oklahoma. About 90% of you got a 1 out of 10% chance. You got a 1 out of 10 chance you're gonna find a Catholic. So there's currently 4 people missing from this lineup. So one of those 4 people would be Catholic. But yeah, she's gonna say something like, in the 3rd grade, God told me I would be governor, and an angel came to me recently and said, "This is your time." I threw her away as a valuable candidate after that because I'm just like, yeah, that'll do it. That's good enough. Yeah, that's enough politicking today. So okay, I'm gonna be interested to see what the rest of the story is, but I'll see if she can redeem herself. I doubt it. Bringing that up to start. Like, you could say, it's like, I just felt like God was pulling a call onto me that I should be running for governor because I've been doing this and that. But when you're just like, an angel came to me when I was really young, and, now the angel, yeah, it's a whole thing.
For the next 20 years, that was my goal. I went to East Central, gained a Bachelor of Communications. I worked for K10 Television, and I was in the ROTC Army. After graduating, I became the Main Street Manager for Shawnee, the Main Street Manager for Purcell. Then I joined the Oklahoma Department of Commerce and worked for the Main Street program. I traveled all over the state and all over the nation, training communities on how to revitalize their downtown areas. I'm a nationally certified downtown development specialist. After that, I bought a convenience store, so I know what it's like to own a small business. I sold that and decided to go back to school to be a city manager. So I went to UCO, earned my Master of Public Administration from UCO, and I graduated with honors with that Master of Public Administration. So today I'm bringing 17 years experience as city manager and downtown manager with a Master of Public Administration. That makes me the most qualified and experienced city manager or governor candidate that we've ever had in Oklahoma. In August of 23, an angel appeared to me and said, now is the time, write your plan and get started. So since that time, I have met with 9,700 people, businesses, and 67,000 people. This is what their list of their priorities are, and maybe yours also, because you're part of them, I'm sure. They said that they are drowning in taxes and insurance. They need a break. They are tired of the condition of the streets and bridges in Oklahoma. They want the water situation worked out all over Oklahoma. They think education is bigger than one topic, such as literature. It's a plan that we need. And they're tired of the Native Americans versus Oklahoma. I will end that because I will be a partner, not a problem, to the Native Americans, and I believe that they are an asset to Oklahoma. Also, what legislators would approve chemtrails to be loaded up in an airplane and dump whatever they have on us? And I will end the chemtrails. Last September, I received a higher anointing. I will be the people's governor. I will have office hours on Wednesday for 15 minutes, so plan out what you want to say and come see me. You can reach me at info@mitchellhaynes.us, and I'll always answer you back. I'm Lisa. I need your vote on June 16th. I need your prayers, and I need your donations.
Thank you. Chip Keating.
Okay, one, that was very scripted, but two, the chemtrails. I love how. See, here's the thing. Like, we have the same problem with the Zionist kind or the anti-Zionist type crowd, right? Where it's like, it's like, oh, the Jews, and that kind of delegitimizes the actual concerns of the Zionist cause and actually going after the Zionist cause. What I love is that she's like, an angel of the Lord said to write your time, and we need to get after those chemtrails that are killing people. It is the time, and it sounds very it's weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird. This is why I threw her out. I didn't even listen to anything she's ever said. This is the first time I've listened to her, but I read the statement that she said of the Spirit of the Lord, an angel of the Lord came to me and told me to run for governor. Yeah, that's a little weird. Like, I'm not denying that an angel shows up, for crying out loud. The Virgin Mary is just the best case to bring out in this example. But I don't know if that was, and it's a little bit odd. No, I can't be the only one. So anyways, let Chip Keaton start.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and thank you to our GOP. My name is Chip Keating. Before we start, I'd like to always start with this. I've never been a Democrat, I've never voted for a Democrat, and I've never given to a Democrat. But Oklahoma's at a crossroads in the
Drummond takes a drink because his wife gave to the Biden campaign. Is Chip? Hold on, I got flipped. Chip is looking over at the Drummond direction. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, Chip. I can't vote for Chip. Just FYI. Yeah, just to be clear, my vote is probably 1 McCarrick, 2 Mozzie, whose reverse order is their next, and then I'd probably say Chip, and I'll be honest. I don't like Drummond or McCall.
path we take is critically important. And the old slogan of our state that Oklahoma's okay, I will end that slogan day one. That means we're average and we're mediocre. I'm running for a greater Oklahoma and to be a governor for Oklahoma, not Oklahoma. But a little bit about myself. My background started in 1995. I am a proud son of Frank Keating, who's the 25th governor of the state of Oklahoma. And the Oklahoma City bombing, the darkest day in our state's history, and still to this.
I just want to point out that he's talking about everything but himself right now. He's brought up his dad, and he's brought up a bombing. Not necessarily, like, I understand he's probably going to revert back, but what about you, right? Like, that's the only thing that, this is why I'm saying a lot of the politics, they skirt around themselves a little bit to be bolstered by other things.
The state, the largest domestic terrorist event to happen on U.S. soil. I was 15 years old, and I remember that day vividly because these were very different times. These were not polarizing times in the environment that we live in today, where you've got the radical left that thinks political violence is acceptable. So I had a relatively normal childhood growing up with who my father was. It was unusual when I was in Choctaw, Oklahoma, and a state trooper showed up to a baseball game to pick me up. I was reunited with my parents at the Murrah site and the bombing site. And what I saw that day changed my life forever. And I saw our heroes running to danger and not from it, our first responder community. And I knew right then and there I was going to become a state trooper. By the grace of God, I graduated from the Oklahoma Highway Patrol Academy, the 53rd Academy in 2001, which I did for almost 4 years, working the hoot shifts. And I worked in Tulsa and Oklahoma City from 8 to 6 in the morning. And I've seen a lot of the dark side of life that happens on the hoot shifts. And I'm a proud father today of 3 beautiful kiddos and my beautiful wife and best friend, Brittany, who couldn't be here tonight because she is, my daughter's playing in the basketball tournament for high school playoffs in Carl Albert. But I will tell you, as a proud father today, my mom used to say nothing good happens after midnight. And as a kid, I'd push back. And I tell my mom she was right. And being a dad now, nothing good happens after midnight being a trooper. I thought I was going to be in law enforcement my whole life, but God had a different plan. My wife and I got married. I went into the private sector and I went to work for a company called Chesapeake Energy. And
So this is where the story kind of dies, right? This is where the story, it's like it loses kind of its momentum because you say, well, in 2001, I became a state trooper because I saw the bombing happen. And so because of that, I want to do more for my community. But then I left because I wasn't making enough money. So I went to work at Chesapeake Energy. Does that not seem a bit funky? Like, I can't be the only guy, right? I can't be the only guy who's, he's there. He say, like, oh, I worked as a state trooper, but I only did it for about 4 years. If your heart was truly in it, wouldn't you have done it more? Like, if it was really something that changed your life, wouldn't you be doing it for far longer? Just saying.
Breaks my heart to see Chesapeake and Devon, the news that's left. I'm going to have to be very quick here. I went through the private sector, but service is an important thing. And I served our state as our Secretary of Public Safety during George Floyd and civil unrest when we had woke leaders in Tulsa and Oklahoma City kneeling with the Black Lives Matter. We did not. We hit back, we hammered them, and we ran them out of our town and our state. But I will tell you all, there's a lot of broken things in Oklahoma. And you need to ask yourself, and we're going to get into these questions, so we'll get into policy and agenda here shortly. But if they were going to fix the problem, elected officials, they should have done it already.
Mike Mason. Mike Mason.
Like, he's right, but I'm gonna be saying this same sentence over and over. I feel like on my campaign, we've been dealing with these problems, right? We've been dealing with these problems for a while. Where was his concern a decade ago? Right? Like I was at Craig County when he was talking. And one of the things that he mentioned was that Oklahoma has a failed education plan because the education plan from the Mississippi Miracle, we repealed Mississippi's education plan, which was what our plan was. Now they're like the 15th in the state or in the nation. And the thing that I have to say is, why are we waiting, or why was he waiting to run for office if we were dealing with these problems, right? Like, why is it now that he's showing his face? I think that's that's just a weird question, and a question that I don't want to sound as like a nag, but you have to ask yourself, why are you showing up now, right? Like Drummond 4 years ago, or actually 8 years ago. 8 years ago, ran for a campaign for AG, lost. 4 years ago, he ran again, won. Now he's here. Now he's running for governor. So for about 4 years, been in office. So 8 years been trying for office. 4 years currently in office. Why is it when you are a grandfather that you are now wanting to make Oklahoma better? And same thing with Keaton. Why is it now that things are problematic that you want to deal with them? Where was the concern beforehand? I don't think I'm weird to be asking this question. It's just weird to me. I keep seeing it happen again and again and again. I made the same comment with Mace. I same the same comment with what's the Blackburn? I made the same comment with Vivek. And honestly, I kind of get Vivek vibes off Keaton. And by that I mean that I feel Keaton is saying what I want to hear, but I don't think he's saying what I want. He's saying what I want to hear, but he's not saying what he truly believes. I'm getting that feeling. I feel like he has these answers to say, but there's something underneath that I don't know what it is yet. It's just I know that there's something else. So, I'll let Maisie talk, and interject if I have to.
Thanks for being here, everyone. Friends, Oklahoma has unlimited potential for growth and prosperity right here in the middle of the heartland where we treasure our Christian biblical values. And we've made some important progress, but we have some big problems that we must tackle with some Trump-like tenacity. Now, our
Why again? It first 20 seconds. Oh, we got to do it like Trump. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, boy. It doesn't matter. I'm having to crash out because, like, here's the thing. I'll give points for Keaton. He didn't mention Trump. He did mention his dad, but Mozzie has to, I don't know why it's like, well, you got to bring up Trump because if you don't, you're not a true Republican. Whoever is advising these people with that, they're horrible advisors. Trump tenacity.
Our tax code is woefully out of date, and we've lost headquarters of energy companies to the no income tax state of Texas. We have seniors all over the state of Oklahoma who are concerned about losing their homes to skyrocketing property taxes. The schools are such that only 20% of the students are reading at grade level, and we still have this mess of Chinese communist land all over the state of Oklahoma. Now tonight we're going to get into the solutions to those problems, but first a little bit about myself. I've been married to that tall, good-looking blonde there, Noelle Maisie, for 35 years. We always wanted a large family, but had some health challenges, adopted a daughter from Russia, did some fertility stuff that worked out better than expected and had triplets. A couple years later, we had bone.
Is that IVF then? Did he use IVF? Fertility treatments. Does that mean IVF? Or he didn't say IVF, but wouldn't that... Okay.
Bonus brother, 5 kids under the age of 5. Whew, what a rush. Today, though, we're super blessed. They all love Jesus and they have jobs. Now, in 1996, we started a financial planning company, and today Trinity Strategic Wealth has $1.6 billion in client assets, and that did afford me the opportunity to serve in the Oklahoma Senate. 10 years, I was the Senate Finance Chairman, and then 2 years, I was Governor Kevin Stitt's first Secretary of Finance. And all of that work has given me a mastery in money and finance. And that's the exact skill set we need in the governor's office because you, the hardworking taxpayers of Oklahoma, have lost billions of dollars due to waste, fraud, abuse, corporate welfare, green energy nonsense. I am the guy that in 2015 killed the $1.5 billion giveaway to the wind power companies. I also fixed the pension systems for our teachers and police officers, passed lots of tax cuts, and even launched the Oklahoma Back to School sales tax holiday. With strong financial management and bold, true, reform-minded, conservative solutions to these challenges ahead of us, we can launch a wave of growth and prosperity.
Thank you. Jake Merrick.
Thank you, sir. Well, it's an honor to be here. Do we have enough volume there? Okay, it's an honor to be here, and I'll just hold it. Yeah. And how was that tiramisu? That was on point. It is great to be here with some liberty-loving patriots. I am Jake Merrick, running for governor because I believe in the people of Oklahoma. I believe in the Constitution. I believe that it's time for someone to value principle over politics. And I have a history of this. I'm willing to take a stand, a hard stand against the political elite. And many people will say that, but I do have a record of doing that. And so I'm here for principle. I'm here to advance what the Constitution says. I appreciated what Governor Stitt said earlier and the things that he was able to accomplish in his time here as advancing the state as a top 10 state. And him operating as a CEO accomplished much of that. But I believe in a different kind of CEO, one that's needed now in this season for Oklahoma. I believe in a constitutional executive officer, if you would, one that would value the Constitution above all. I was called to ministry at a young age and pursued that, going to Bible school and going to seminary, did my Master of Divinity, and have pursued God's will for my life, whatever that might look like. And that's taken me down a lot of unexpected turns and paths, and one of those is this political path. But we've seen God just give us favor all along the way, get us exactly what we need when we need it. And he introduced me at the right time to my beautiful bride sitting over here, married 15 years. We have 2 children, 11 and 16. It was through the experience of adopting our oldest daughter, who's 16, that opened our eyes to the brokenness of various systems across the state, like DHS and child welfare. And it opened our eyes to the brokenness of families across the state of Oklahoma. So I believe we can trace most of our dysfunction as a state back to the dysfunction in the nuclear family and the attack of the left on the nuclear family. the attempt to redefine marriage, the attempt to redefine gender.
I love how he says the left. Sorry, I'm gonna interject briefly, but he says the left. The left isn't the only one taking on the nuclear family anymore. We currently have some Republicans who are also going after the nuclear family. So, just want to say that.
Gender. And I think that if we get that right and we re-solidify the nuclear family with moms and dads present in the home, pouring into children, protecting their parental authority over their children, it's going to have a ripple effect in every area of Oklahoma, including
Moms and dads? How sexist and homophobic. You don't think that there should just be moms? That each child deserves a moms, not dads? How dare you?
our education. It's going to bring a learning environment back to our schools where teachers are actually able to pour into their students. And so I am going with a family first agenda here in this run for governor, but I look forward to serving the great people in this great state.
Mr. Kenneth Sturgill.
Hello. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Kenneth Sturgill. I would love to serve you as your next governor. I'm not running against the other candidates. I'm running for Oklahoma. I'm running for governor because I feel led by God.
He probably said that in the shower. Thought that would mean something. Yeah. Damn, that was a killer line, and I didn't even think it. Yeah. I'm not running against the candidates. I'm running for Oklahoma. No crap. Okay. What's he saying? Hold on. I feel led by God
To run. I'm not a career politician. You vote for me, I'm going to seek God with every decision I make. And when my terms run up, I'm going fishing. My wife, Becky, and I have been married 41 years this April. We have 3 grown kids and 8 grandkids. We have lived.
again. Where were you? The same statement. See, and this is why I'm saying Oklahoma. We see. I showed you the graph earlier of the care ratio, and about half of Republicans just don't care. Why is it now that these Republicans care? Right? Why all of a sudden is there a love of state and a love of people? It's just weird to me that it all now is when they decide to show up out of the woodwork. They don't want to show up when it matters in everyday life, only during an election season. So, anyways.
In the Goldsby, Oklahoma area for the last, since 94. We ran a small business there for the last 25 years. I'm 100% against abortion. I will fight for our Second Amendment rights as well as all of our amendment rights. I'm against mandatory vaccinations. I will remove all the sexual content books out of our school libraries. I think that's very important. I support the truth in our schools. There's only 2 genders. I'm for smaller government. I'm for lower taxes. I think we've got to work on the homeless problem, and I would like to work with the church on that because I don't think the state has the answer, but I know God has the answer for that.
So I'm going to say this just before they start talking more, but we've seen a very consistent line between them all, and they all believe in some form of conservatism, republicanism. The thing with an open statement like this is that you gotta show yourself to be different from these other Republicans, because every other Republican is going to say, "I believe in gun rights. I believe abortion's bad." You got to figure out why you are better than them. So if you want to say I'm against abortion 100%, okay, but prove it. And I don't know what you can say to prove it. Now, if you want to talk about, like with myself, it's like, well, how can I prove that I'm pro-life? Well, my first bill is going to be to deal with the abortion pills. That should be the first bill that I'm going to do. And I'm going to get rid of mifepristone in the state of Oklahoma. That's how I'm different. It's not something I'm going to say. It's something I'm going to do. And actions are going to be, at the end of the day, what people should be voting on more. Anyways,
in that problem. And we got to get these foreign countries from buying up our land. We have to get this right. Our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids are counting on us. We owe them an apology for what we put them through COVID.
So we deserve an apology, but now you want to solve the solution. We deserve an apology because the higher-ups that be, right? Because I'm Gen Z, and I started voting in 2018, right? Or 2020. I didn't have any really choice in how the government was being decided. A lot of Gen Z didn't have a choice in how the government was decided. So if my generation truly has an apology given to us, what makes you think that now that these higher generations are going to be the solution? You know, like, no offense, but if you're gonna say that apologizing for what? That you failed to do your duty to protect the young and the innocent? My question, if you didn't do it then, why are you thinking you're gonna do it now? I don't think it's that unreasonable to suspect that you're not going to be the strongest fighter for the unborn or the not younger generations, because when push came to shove, you didn't. So, just saying.
We have to have the resolve to work through the hard things to see Oklahoma become the state God has called us to be in this hour. And this can only happen with God's guidance and providence. As we approach the celebration of our country's 250th anniversary, I'm reminded of the sacrifice that many have paid for us to be here right now doing what we're doing at this time. And as we see on the news, many states have drifted away from what the original 56 men and their families believed in, that God's providence would guide them with courage and sacrifice and reason to create a country like we have never seen before. We must get back to 1776 Providence. I'm Kenneth Sturgill. Look me up on Facebook. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you to the candidates for those opening remarks. We're now going to get into questions. Again, you got 2 minutes. You don't have to use the full 2 minutes. If it's a yes or no, great. We'll go on. We'll get as many questions as we can get in until.
It won't be. No one's just gonna say yes. If anyone says yes, if anyone says a yes, and I'll even give them a sentence with the yes. And everyone's gonna say more than just a yes. If anyone does, I'm gonna peel out of frame for like 20 seconds. I'll freely do it.
The chairwoman gives me the hook here in a little bit. So right into it. At least we're going to Ms. Haynes first, then General, and then we're going to come back to this. I don't want everybody to go in the same exact order, right? So I'm going with Ms. Haynes first. What actions do you recommend to safeguard Oklahoma land from ownership or control by foreign adversaries? Ms. Haynes.
To safe
Okay, so before they start, I'm gonna answer this question myself. So, foreign land ownership, no offense, but I thought we dealt with that. You know, I'm gonna say sometimes this, but excuse me, but if China is owning our wheat fields and grows the wheat, American grown wheat, and then sends it over to China, they should be having that wheat farm, but we've let them. So I think we definitely should be trying to get these foreign tied land / people out of the America so we can actually protect our borders and protect our assets. I don't know how we're gonna get through that. I'll be honest. If we could do a law, I assume it's going to be laws at the end of the day. But yeah, we should be having Americans, and especially Oklahomans owning Oklahoma land. And if it's going to be anything else, it's going to be those like businesses who, it's like we're in, Texas, but we have Oklahoma land or something. So I'm interested to see what they'll say.
Safeguard the Oklahoma land from foreign adversaries. I will put whoever is selling those, the third party that's representing those groups, in jail for a year. I will take their commission and give it to law enforcement. I will enable the state and local law enforcement to inspect every drug and marijuana grove anywhere.
No offense, but I'm not intimidated. She's saying these words. I'm like, mm-hmm. Sure. She's not intimidating me right now.
And currently, law enforcement cannot inspect groves even if they know they're there because we don't have a state statute allowing that. So we need to change that state statute and allow the law enforcement to inspect the groves. And then I will turn that land back and let Oklahoma buy that land.
Thank you. General Drummond.
When I took office in January of 2023, I inherited two problems. One, we had over 12,000 marijuana grow facilities in the state of Oklahoma. Two, we had over 100,000 acres owned by Chinese syndicated crime organizations. I stood up an organized crime force, worked with DEA, FBI, Homeland Security. We have taken the battle to the Chinese and the Mexicans. We have closed or shut down over 10,000 marijuana grow facilities in the last 3 years. That is $15 billion of black market marijuana off the streets, fentanyl production, human trafficking, and sex trafficking eliminated from our state. We have probably another 1,000 illegal grows left, and we shut them down every day. We're going to stay after it. When I recognize that problem, I petitioned the legislature to require an affidavit. If you buy land in the state of Oklahoma today, you have to sign an affidavit that you are a United States citizen. Now I have got them making a lie when they buy it. Well, I also have passed legislation that requires a $50,000 bond if you are not a resident of Oklahoma for the last 3 years. So now we have money to clean up the land. And then I've begun civil asset forfeitures 18 months ago. We have 57 civil asset forfeitures pending against real estate owned by Chinese syndicated crime organizations. We've taken back thousands of acres. We will take back the remaining. Thank you.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes, thank you. I agree with Drummond there. I think what he's doing is enforcing the laws that are there. I think that we also need to pursue the people that are Americans that get on those LLCs and kind of get those rolling so that they stay out of it. I think we need to do something to them as well. But we got to go with the laws we have, just enforce them. I think it's a lot of work to do all of that investigating stuff, but we got to have the resolve to do that. Thank you.
Again, Jake Merrick, again, what actions do you recommend to safeguard Oklahoma land from ownership or control by foreign adversaries?
We're traveling across the state. This is one of the top concerns from the people. I would say education is probably number one. Probably number two is dealing with the foreign ownership of land. And it's clear that people want something done. I think we have to start with closing all loopholes in our state statutes that allow for this. When you have provisions there that say that you cannot own land unless you're a citizen or intend to become a citizen, then it becomes very problematic. And so as long as that's there, we're going to see this dilemma, this invasion really of our Oklahoma land continue to happen. And so we have to close that loophole. I would appeal to the legislator we attempted this before. And we've got to get this through. I think there's an appetite for this. There's a demand on the part of the people to do this through our Oklahoma legislature. So I want to continue applying that pressure to see solid bills come through to close those loopholes.
Mike Macy.
Yeah. So sorry, my brain is queuing in now. So, honestly, with myself, I think what we should just do, because the marijuana business is kind of booming in Oklahoma. Part of that is because of the medical marijuana. I'd honestly ask the voters, send a legislatively approved amendment to Oklahoma so we can undo the marijuana laws we have and create new ones. And that way we can deal with this problem straight away. It's not a jerry rigging solution. We have the solution. We're not jerry rigging a solution because we're constrained by we're jerry rigging a solution because of what Oklahoma has passed before. So
We have learned from law enforcement that the Chinese Communist Party owns land in all 77 counties. All 77 counties, which of course is a public safety crisis when you think about the nexus of human trafficking, drug trafficking. Well, we're told from the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics, Oklahoma is still the #1 exporter of marijuana to the entire country. But we've also got a national security crisis, because remember, we have 5 major military installations in the state of Oklahoma. And the CCP could launch weapon strikes with drones at any time, just like we've seen drone strikes happen in the war on Ukraine. The real outrage is Article 22 of the Oklahoma Constitution forbids the foreign ownership of land, but the right work to process or enforce the Constitution has not been going on. As a matter of fact, in 2023, there was an affidavit that was determined to be processed in all 77 counties, but there's a box on that affidavit where you can check the item that says, I'm not a citizen, but I plan on becoming a bona fide resident of the state of Oklahoma, and you can buy whatever you want. On day 1, when I am governor of Oklahoma, I will sign an executive order to wipe out that unconstitutional loophole in the system. And we will instruct our public safety agencies to root them out and evict the Chinese communists from the state of Oklahoma.
Chip Keating.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I'm a former trooper. I've taken an oath to protect and serve. I've been issued a badge and a gun. But to correct a comment, we've never had 10,000 grows in our state. We've had 10,000 licenses that have been pulled back. There's 1,400 grows in the state today. By the estimates of the OBN, 1,200 illegal. Day 1, I don't even know why we're waiting as governor. I will declare a public safety emergency, no different than we did in 2020. When we had looters, rioters, Antifa, et cetera, coming into our state, we're going to activate the National Guard. We know where these grows are. The OBN, the OHP, big government's failed us. The OMMA has been a train wreck. Oklahoma produced 77 million pounds of marijuana last year. We accounted for 2 million pounds. 75 million pounds of marijuana came out of our state. That's 60% of all black market marijuana in the United States. This is crazy. We know where they are. The state needs to give the OBN, the patrol, the resources they need. The OMMA needs to be totally collapsed. It should have always been handled inside of OBN, but this is big government. Typical in Oklahoma. We pride ourselves on being a red state, but we have 380 agencies, boards, and commissions. They have failed us as citizens of Oklahoma. We're going to activate the National Guard. We're going to give the resources to the OBN and the OHP to go run these people off once and for all. This is the CCP, the Sinaloa cartel, the Russian mafia. These are not our friends. These are our enemies. They're not citizens of our great state. And we are going to go to reclaim the property across all 77 counties and put it back to the county courthouses to get back to its rightful owners as Oklahomans. Thank you.
So I don't know what the OBN is. OMA or the OBA. OBA? NA? One of the two. I assume it's Oklahoma Marijuana Association or something. Um, like I said, if we just undid medical marijuana so we could start refreshed, I think that would be advisable. And that way we wouldn't have to uh worry about anything. It's just we're free to do what we need to do to get all this dealt with. So, but if it really be a law enforcement issue though, why isn't the state legislation doing anything about this? Like if it literally be we know where these plants are, we just need to go after them. Are you telling me the state legislation can't do anything or the governor cannot do an executive order now to solve this issue? Can we not do anything? Are we that handicapped? And if we're handicapped because of the law that is the law by the state question that allowed marijuana in our state, then yeah, maybe it is. We need to do a control Z, and that way we can actually solve this issue, 100%, and not just a little bit and put a band-aid on it. So,
All right, Chip, hold that mic. Next question here. Sharia law has emerged as a significant topic of discussion in Oklahoma. What measures, if any, should be implemented to address its potential influence or application within our state? Again, Chip, and then we're going to go to Mrs. Haynes next.
only bring in Christian representatives. Do not allow anyone that like we kick out Muslims. That's what we should do. That's what we should definitely do, folks. That's probably none of them are gonna say though. But if they're worried about Sharia law is only a response to the religion of Islam. So when we have these people who are from a different type of culture than the United States, and they wish Sharia law or they wish the Islamic head to be how our government is. Well, that's just what they are. That's like a Christian government it's like our government now. It's a Christian government theoretically. It's got the backbones of a Christian life. So the point, but what I'm trying to bring up is saying like, our laws are dictated by Christianity and they're trying to make the laws of the land dictated by Islam. We're no different. It's just who's going to actually be bold in fighting for those values. And that's where I say this is where Christians need to have a little bit of backbone. This is where we need to be fighting them off. But, what can we fight them with that the Supreme Court isn't going to say, well, according to the federal First Amendment of that everyone has a freedom to have a religion and what they are. Why are we what we can't restrict them from having this we can't stop them being Muslims, right? Because then that goes against American values. So I'll be interested to see what they'll say and whether or not it actually could be implemented or if our Supreme Court is just going to kill it.
Yeah, so obviously we're seeing what's going on in Iran, and I really, God bless our men and women of our military that are doing Omen's work and brave and heroic work right now to defeat the Ayatollah. But look, Sharia law has killed, by any estimates, 36,000 folks in Iran. That is clearly not a doctrine that we want in the United States of America, let alone in Oklahoma. But Sharia law is banned by the federal government right now. And so what we need to do, if we need to further enhance that, is pass Sharia law in Oklahoma. It was attempted here, I think, 15 years ago, and the liberal trial bar in our state defeated it. I think this is a very important point to talk about how we need to reform our judiciary in our state, and the JNC totally.
Okay. Oh, sorry, that's the table. I was like, what the hell's creaking? So what's funny though is we talk about this in 2024. He's going to talk about the judicial system. The judicial system was up for vote in the House. It passed the Senate, I think, and it was in the House. The House was supposed to vote on whether or not we would change how the Oklahoma judicial system is made up of. So the currently the judicial system is set up where there's this where there's these people over here who make they choose candidates, and it's filled with a bunch of leftists, usually leftist lawyers. They send that candidate to the governor, and the governor chooses from the pool that they selected, and then he goes to confirmation, and then he is chosen for the Supreme Court. We were trying to federalize it where the governor would just choose the candidate and then we go straight to confirmation. That failed in the House 2024. And I want you guys, if you are in District 6, take a look at who voted no, who said no on that bill. Specifically, a certain district. Specific district. Sorry, there we are. A specific district. So
needs to be reformed because the measure that we pass, if our legislature passes it to ban Sharia law on the state side, we cannot have the liberal trial bar always taking that to court and overturning it like they did, frankly, 15 or so years ago. But we need to stand with President Trump and the federal government. It is banned nationally. So if it rears its head in our state, frankly, we should be working with our U.S. attorney's offices and prosecuting the perpetrators and getting it out of our state if we can't get it passed locally. But I think it's a really important point that our judiciary in our state needs a total overhaul. Our state is operating, and since 1907, we would not set our state up the way we do today. It's our 2026 moment. It's time to modernize state government and make government more efficient for Oklahomans.
Ms. Haynes.
In 2010, state question 7.
Hold on. I'm going to be honest. Guys, I need 2 seconds. Where are we? We're almost at a minute. Okay, let me do you know what, I can do that. So we're near 54. I need to be more refreshments to keep talking. So I need to do that briefly. Let me get down. Let me grab something. I've been doing this for an hour and a half. Let me go grab something real quick, and I'll be back. So let me just quickly put up an image that usually I don't bring up here. So, oop. I'll be back, y'all. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. That was a quick 20 seconds. Okay, now I'm getting back in shape. So, said 54, didn't I?
55, call
Okay. So let's see what this. Could definitely probably take a drink.
Save Our State amendment forbids Sharia law in the state. And you may remember voting for it because 70% said no, they didn't want that to be in our state. But the Oklahoma Supreme Court, thinking that they are more powerful than the voters, overturned it and said we couldn't do that here. That's why I agree with him. We need to redo how the judges are appointed in this state because that is evil.
This is a legislation problem or it's a state problem. So this is where a state question would have to get placed in. This is where, so it's either a state question or we need the legislation to do this. And they're probably going to start talking about the legislation. Here's the thing. The legislation had an opportunity to do it in 2024. Didn't. That's why you need some fresh blood in Congress. And specifically this white pasty 24-year-old young blood.
Evil what they're doing now. Right now, the Muslim Brotherhood says that they're going to take over every state and every city. And I believe that they've been determined to be a terrorist organization. In Broken Arrow recently, they proposed a 15-acre mosque. 2,000 people showed up at the city council meeting. Can you imagine that? And about 65% were against it. So it was voted down. But don't think they're gone. They're looking for another.
Like, it's any other religion. Like, I don't know why, I don't know why people are surprised that the Muslims were going to build a mosque. There's one in OSU. You know why? Because Muslims go to school at OSU. I don't know why y'all are surprised. I don't know why people are surprised that in Oklahoma, where there's Indians from India, they have temples. There's Jews here who have synagogues. Like, why is it that for some reason Muslims are just different? And if you want to say, well, they kill people, uh, India is the rape capital of the world. Grape. I said grape. Grape. YouTube. I said grape. The grape capital of the world. Grape without the G. Um, like if you're really concerned about these different beliefs, then why is it just Islam? Because you should be not against the Buddhists, you should be against the Hindus, and honestly, you could talk about being against the Judaism because they don't believe in Christ. So, excuse me, sorry, Dr. Pepper. So the fact that we are carried about Islam primarily is a bit why. Excuse me.
Place in Oklahoma.
Or Mormons. Sorry. I'm looking at the Utah Jazz right now, and I just realized, like, oh, Mormons. Like, also Mormonism. Are you not going to be against that? I can't tell you how many different evangelical groups there are too. Like, if we really want to talk about, all these people are building a mosque and they're trying to do this, have a place to worship. It's like, where is it going to end? And if you're okay with, like, let's say a temple or a synagogue, then what's the problem with a mosque?
So be alert and show up and protest against them. Under my leadership, we're not going to have another mosque built in Oklahoma. And Sharia law, somebody said I wasn't saying it right. I don't care. It's not my law. It didn't come from our country, and it will not be in this country any longer. In New York City right now, you cannot walk your dog under Mondami laws. You can't walk your dog outside. You have to have a license.
Again, the fact that they have to bring up other either crazy California or just completely neutered and defunct New York in order to be like, well, we can't do that in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is not being plagued by dumb liberals who want to have a social experiment, who want to try and do socialism. We are plagued by rhinos, Republicans, and conservatives who don't understand its definition. So I don't know why these people are discussing to them and saying that you need to hit on these like select issues when it's not even like Sharia law is here because there's Muslims. Why are there Muslims? Because could it be H-1B visas? Could it be that Oklahoma's profitable and so they send people here? Like, why is Islam so interested? But again, bringing up every but themselves. Yeah, you're bringing up Mandani because the Muslims don't have your dog out because Muslims are for some reason scared of dogs. I forgot why. There's something in their religion. I forgot what it was. They're against dogs because they're like unclean or something. Yeah, which is very ironic because Muslims by and large killed I think it's the Farsi people. So there's is it Farsi? Is that the language? But there's a different religion. Crap, I'm forgetting its name. There's a different religion. Crap, what's its name? There's a name for it, but there's a different religion that in Iran. Zoroastrianism. There we are. Finally, it kicked in my brain. Zoroastrianism. A lot of Zoroastrians are being killed by the Muslims, and they actually have a thing where dogs are actually good. So I don't know if a little prejudice from Muhammad seeped into the Quran. So
To have a child. And if they want to sell their daughters in marriage and the daughters disagree, they get killed.
General Drum.
that's kind of Islam. Like, I was reading. Ironically, I'm reading, or I did. So if you guys haven't read this, I recommend it. But it's called The Price to Pay, and it follows a Muslim who actually was in the Saudi, I think Saddam Hussein, I think it was during that time, Saddam Hussein's time, and what he did. Sorry, there we are. So what he did was he had a I think it was Catholic or he was Christian, one of the two. His bunkmate in the army was a Christian, which he tried to convert him to Islam. Failed because the Christian asked him, "Well, why do you believe in Islam?" And he couldn't have a reason. So then he did his own deep dive, and he thought some of it was weird because some of the stuff that the prophet wrote and how he was supposed to live were not right. One of those things in Islam believes that it's okay for spousal grape because that is how low they treat women. So this is not don't be all talking about, it's Sharia law. No, no, no. This problem has a root in Islam. Islam is the villain in this entire story. Um, don't get it twisted. They're gonna try and paint it as, it's a terrorist, and why are they terrorists? Because they're Muslims. Why are they wanting Sharia law? Because they're followers of Islam. Like, well, why are they okay, as followers of Islam, why are they doing this? Because Muhammad told them to. It's all gonna come back to Islam. Don't try and twist it.
United States law governs, period, not Sharia law. If an organization promotes terrorism,
He probably said that in a shower. Thought that he was thought it was an intimidating line. I bet you.
or breaks the law under my regime as Attorney General, it has been investigated. We have launched numerous.
Okay, I heard that. I don't know if you all heard it. It's still right there. Charity was saying that this is why I'm doing this tonight. We went to Craig County. Charity was talking about this. And what was funny is she was saying that one of the guys there had said my regime. And I started smiling because I knew which governor candidate probably said it. And lo and behold, I'm right. So as I've said multiple times, I've looked at all these candidates before. I've listened to their launch trailers. I've watched a couple of their videos. I've looked at what they've been talking about. I've never met any. I've only met Keaton, and I've met McCarrick. I've only met those two guys. Everyone else is a complete unknown to me. I knew Drummond was the one who said my regime. He's the only guy that I would think would have said that. That's how I wouldn't say that's how intelligent I am, but it's like that's how aware I am in this like political landscape. I know when people are talking about other people because I'm able to figure these people out from practically. I don't even met these guys, and I already think I know them enough.
Investigations to hold accountable those who would come into our state and injure us. Full stop. We're also all immigrants. Our people came from Spain, Germany, England, Africa.
Gosh, that's a leftist line. Just to be clear, that's a leftist line. Saying that we're all immigrants, that's a leftist line. No, we settled on this land. Yeah, we were settlers. Yeah, we are conquerors. Yeah, we're not immigrants. If you're gonna say now, I want to think. I think he's part of he said he came from Osage, so more than likely he's probably Indian. So of course he's gonna say that because he thinks he was here first because they kind of were, but they were conquered, rightly.
Asia. And what did we do? When we came to America, we integrated. We joined a civic organization, a church. We joined our public.
I don't remember in 1680. I don't remember in when did St. Augustine? Hold on. When was St. Augustine founded? When was St. Augustine, Florida founded? Sorry, I'm looking up where it is right now. Founded 1565. I'm pretty sure in 1565 there wasn't any there wasn't anything in the southern tip of Florida That's why the missionaries had to make a mission, and they built a altar, and they had mass. Yeah, the Catholics were here before even the Protestants showed up, because the conquistadors were here. So, yeah. So I don't know what he's getting on about. Like, we're all immigrants. Part of my family had been here for decades in Louisiana, and then, or potentially centuries. And then there's the other half of my family came from Germany. So yeah, a little bit of immigrant, but but then he fought for World War II. So
schools. We integrated, spoke our language, and became Americans. To any immigrant that wants to come to the United States, to come to Oklahoma and integrate into our state, I welcome you with open arms. But if you come here for the purpose of isolation, through which you will subsequently radicalize your youth, I stand in your way. As your Attorney General, I defend the law, I will prosecute. As your governor, I will lead this state to safety and prosperity. Thank you.
Mike Mazie.
I first want to say that Muslims aren't bad people, but Islamic.
Sorry, just started out with that line. It's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not gonna say that there aren't good Muslims in the world. They're just usually killed by the bad ones. But the good Muslims out there. But here's the thing: in being a good Muslim, it kind of means being against Christianity. Either way. So either way, I don't know where he's going to go with this, but he should, at the very end, say that he isn't going to allow them any foothold in Oklahoma. If he tries to even say that we need to coexist, rejected.
Sharia rule is a violent and oppressive form of government and ideology, and it is completely antithetical to our tradition of U.S. constitutional liberty and freedom. Now, because of its violent tendencies and threats, Christians, Jews, even the 75% of Muslims that are peaceful are all in danger. As governor, I will not let an enclave of Sharia law or rule take root in Oklahoma like it has in Dearborn, Michigan. And I will take 3 immediate actions. First, we must work with the legislature to once again ban Sharia rule in the state of Oklahoma. I voted for such a ban when I was in the Oklahoma Senate, but it was overturned by a liberal-leaning Oklahoma Supreme Court.
Again, it was overdone. It was the Supreme Court. Look at who voted no on that bill in 2024, because I remember it precisely. You know why I remember it? Because I told a friend, I'm sorry that I wasn't running for office in 2024 because of a certain person who voted no. Just take a look.
They need to be forced to revisit this issue. Second, I will, by executive order on my first day in office, designate the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations as a foreign terrorist organization and transnational criminal organizations. And third, I will mandate that law enforcement in the state of Oklahoma get trained to identify Sharia-influenced violence, abuse of women and children, and the ugly violation of age of consent laws. In Oklahoma, we need a governor who doesn't just say they have a Christian worldview. We need a governor who governs with a Christian worldview.
The only thing I have to say with that is, if he's going to try and make it where being a Muslim is a negative, and you basically try to persecute Islam, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I'm just saying I think that's immediately going to be canned by the Supreme Court, either of federal or state. They're going to be saying, well, you can't do that because it's persecution, and each has the freedom to be a Muslim. Everyone has a freedom to be a follower of Islam, even if that Islam has some perverted ideology. Doesn't matter. So if you're going to try and say, like, the child safety, where it's like, if a child brides, which, mind you, Islam is okay. Muhammad slept with Muhammad was he was nice. He didn't sleep with a 9-year-old. He slept with 11-year-old. He just married a 9-year-old. Completely different, guys. Completely different. It's completely different. Who hasn't had, this is going to get clipped. This is gonna get totally clipped, but like, who hasn't had sex with an 11-year-old? You know, who hasn't married a 9-year-old? You know, that's essentially what, what Islam believes. But yeah, because Muhammad, that's what Muhammad did. And yeah, a lot of Islam, uh, there is no um idea of chastity or self-control. That's why the women always have to look like they're a shadow, so that the guys don't go, "Oh, I'm bricked. I gotta do something. Where's a goat?" You know, that's essentially the huge thing. That's why they're all like they're oppressed. They're oppressed because the guys can't chill off their dicks for 2 seconds.
Currently in our Oklahoma legislature, there are bills on the House side and the Senate side to address this. And so I believe in the House it's carried by Representative Woolley, in the Senate by Senator Bullard. So I fully support these two measures and attempts to address Sharia law and its influence here in Oklahoma, especially in our court system. Like was mentioned, we had it back in 2010, State Question 755, that expressed the will of the people and concern of the people to say that we reject the influence of Sharia law or any international court in our courtrooms. And I think that we have to be, we should go ahead and broaden that scope to include any foreign court in Oklahoma courts. And so that does prompt that secondary question of judicial reform, which I believe is so critical. We need massive judicial reform here, especially with our Supreme Court and our liberal justices that would support and stand beside the will of the people instead of overturning it like they did back in 2010. I also want to take a hard look at how this ideology is creeping into our universities. And we need to make sure that it's not trickling down into our classrooms through our college universities. And of course, our legislature has the authority and power to handle that, to weed that out. They hold the purse strings over a publicly funded institution. So where these ideologies are being taught in our universities, they need to be warned and then reprimanded, and if needed, have the funding withdrawn if these kinds of ideologies, along with DEI, by the way, are persisting in our universities. So I would want a deep dive across the state, both in our courts and in our universities, to find out where this is and root it out day one.
Mr. Sturgill?
I agree with all the way across the board there. We cannot allow that to happen in our state. I think that we see in the day that we're in today that evil will take what we mean for good and turn it into bad. And that's what's happening in this situation. We have these Sharia law coming in and they're using our laws against us to do it. But as Americans and Oklahomans, we allow people, as Drummond was saying, that foreigners come in here. If they want to be Oklahomans, we welcome them. If they want to become Oklahomans. If they don't want to become an Oklahoman, they need to go home and they need to take their dog. Thank you.
Mike Mazie, we're going to start this next question with you. The governor of Oklahoma, we've talked a lot about boards and commissions and all of our state agencies, so I think this is a good topic here. The governor of Oklahoma is responsible for appointing all sorts of roles from agency heads to board members. This includes DHS, the Department of Corrections, Department of Education, Tax Commission, et cetera. What will you do to ensure that good qualified people are placed in these roles while also keeping away, again, a good old boy system to, again, infiltrate back into the state of Oklahoma?
Oklahoma has an over $35 billion budget. Oklahoma is not a poor state. It's a poorly managed state. And right now,
I like to report I saw that on a tweet that he wrote. So this is definitely something that he has had in the brain bank to spit out whenever he needs to. So that's not a generic statement, but politicians got a politician.
the group of agency directors that we have just like to ask for more money. In fact, during this latest budgetary request cycle, add up all the agency director funding requests, and it was $1.9 billion after last year's record government spending of $12.5 billion. Now, it's important to know that the state auditor has done lots and lots of reports. Some of the more notable ones have been Tulsa Public Schools. Her audit on Sooner Care identified $1.6 billion of questionable expenditures. And you know what the legislature has done about all these reports? Absolutely nothing. Well,
so just to be clear, the legislation, right? Legislation, meaning the House and the Senate, what have they done? Nothing. Who's been in office for 8 years, guys? Who's been in office for 8 years? Oh, I'll tell you, it's not me. I have not been writing District 6 for the last 8 years. Just curious. You know, the faults of the legislation that be is kind of a mark of the legislatures that are incumbents this election cycle.
in a Mazie administration, we're going to hire agency directors that are fiscal hawks and efficiency experts and get to work on all these audit recommendations and suggestions. In addition, a second step for government efficiency, transparency, and oversight is we're going to stop this taxpayer-funded lobbyist thing at state agencies that they call legislative liaisons. These are people paid by our tax dollars to go in front of people paid by our tax dollars to ask for more of your tax dollars. We're going to stop that and put in internal auditors that are required to bring to my desk every 90 days quarterly financial reports.
All right, we're gonna go this way, Jake. We're gonna start and then the general. So,
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, speaking of guys, I signed the Save Oklahoma plan. That contains it. It's step 7. I think it's number 7. Mozzie has signed it, and I think McCall has signed it. No one else has signed it, but so he's just repeating something else from someone else. But
Jake, you're up.
There's one thing that people detest. It's the crony capitalism. It's the good old boy system that was mentioned. It's the favoritism granted to someone, not because of what they know, but because of who they know. And it's time to end that practice and base positions in the government on merit, on conservative values, and on integrity. So we need interviews. We need vetting of these agency heads. I've seen and I've heard testimony from across the state about DHS and its influence on families. And those that should be protected by this agency are now becoming victims. And then we saw last year a request on the floor for $100 million, which was essentially a blank check they were asking for. This type of stuff has to end. Of course, they could not itemize where that money was going. And so the blank check idea has to end. We have to know exactly where taxpayer money is going. We need to have the audits, yes, but there has to be follow-up. There has to be teeth in it. And when we look at agencies like the OTA, as I go across the state of Oklahoma, that's in the top 5 of the most critical issues to Oklahoma is what are we going to do about the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority? And I propose that we end that and return these turnpikes to toll-free roads. So by doing certain things like this, I think we save the state of
6 in Safe Oklahoma plan. It's number 6 in the Save Oklahoma plan and the Turnpike. So
Oklahoma.
But I don't think McCarrick signed it. I don't think he did. If he did, I missed it.
Billions of dollars. And I would like to say we could redirect that directly to the classroom and bolster our education system by doing that.
Mr. Sturgill.
I believe that we need to find the best person for each one of those positions. I believe that we have plenty of Oklahomans out there that's really qualified to do some of those positions. It's going to take a little while to find them, but I want to find people that are like-minded with the way I believe. And I believe that we in church and country, and I think that is a thing that should move behind us, and we should need to find qualified people. As I've been out there running, I've seen and met many people out there that God's called to do and run that's got some great ideas and got great qualifications for those positions. And I've started a list myself. I'm sure everyone else has as well. Thank you.
General Drummond.
As your Attorney General, I've gone out and hired the very best prosecutors, the best civil litigators, the best solicitors general, and the best general counsel. From the agent land of my agency, I've hired and stolen from the FBI, ATF, and other state agencies, the very best in Oklahoma. As a business owner of 5 companies, I've hired thousands of people. 3 criteria. Are you competent? Are you ethical? And are you ready to work? With that answered affirmatively, I put them to work. As your governor, I will not put lobbyists first. I will not put donors or political elite first. I will put the state of Oklahoma first, hiring and appointing only those Oklahomans who are competent, ethical, and ready to work. Thank you.
Ms. Haynes.
Well, I'm not one of the good old boy system, and that's why I haven't been introduced at 2 large meetings, one in Oklahoma City and one in Tulsa, because they don't know if I can be bought off or not. But they have introduced all of the past. Thank you. Oh, that's me. Thank you. Just a minute.
I was asked to give that to you.
Thank you. They have introduced, that sounds better too, doesn't it? All of the past and current candidates. I call that the evil old working system. I want the most qualified people for every job. And if you think you can do it, send me your resume. I have an aggressive agenda, and we have a lot to do for the people. And I want people ready to go on the word go. And, you know, we had a governor here that.
I think the reason that they didn't call you in is probably the same reason they didn't talk to Kenneth, is the same reason that you all are polling at less than probably 1%. And it's primarily either McCall, Drummond. I think it's McCall and Drummond take 1 and 2 interchangeably. And then it's Keaton, Mozzie, and McCarrick who take like the 3rd slots. Y'all are getting the crumbs. So I think that's why you're not being voted. It's not because you're also, if she's placed the woman card, this could be funny.
Had ghost employees. Remember that? He had promised people jobs. They didn't show up for work, but they got a paycheck. I sure don't want to be that kind of governor. I will not. That would be embarrassing to me because we are going to work hard for you. How about the guy that's over the Oklahoma, or was over the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority at the same time over the Oklahoma Department of Commerce and was a cabinet secretary? That's a good old boy system. Is there not anyone else available to build roads in the state besides one person? That won't happen again. President Bush appointed an Oklahoman called Michael Brown to be over FEMA. And we all know what that happened when Hurricane Katrina hit. He didn't hear from Sikkim. He wasn't a leader. He couldn't lead. It embarrassed the administration and it hurt New Orleans. I will not do that to you. I will be your governor for the people.
Chip Keating.
Yeah, friends, I've been running oil and gas businesses in Oklahoma City for the last 17 years. I'm proud to say I started American Energy Partners with a great titan, Aubrey McClendon, here who started Chesapeake. And we've started a number of energy companies, some of which are still around today. I mentioned earlier big government. Our state is big government. One of the worst ballot initiatives that was passed recently, 788, in medical marijuana was nothing short of illicit drugs. And what did we do when we passed 788? We started a new agency. And then we started Service Oklahoma. We have over 380 agencies, boards, and commissions in our state. That is absolutely nonsense. It's not an accountable system. It's not an efficient system. The state of Arkansas, and I pledge, I'm not an office-hopping career politician. I'm going back to the private sector. I want to do this job for this state I love so much, and I want to go fix these problems. But I pledge to you, under a Governor Keating administration, there will be no science experiments. We're going to do common sense policies. Look at Mississippi, look at Arkansas, look at Tennessee, look at Alabama, Texas, Florida. We can go down the road. Arkansas had 250 agencies, boards, and commissions 8 years ago. They have 15 today. They didn't cut services. They made services more efficient to the taxpayers of the state of Oklahoma. If it were a 1907 moment today, I ask people, will we set our state up the way we currently operate our state in 2026? And the answer is a resoundingly no. It is time to modernize our state government, and that is my commitment as your next governor to do just that.
All right, next question. Jake, Merrick, we're going to start with you. Governor Stitt has boosted the state economically. You heard.
Okay. I'll be honest, guys. It's been 2 hours. I'm probably going to do 30 more minutes, and then I'm going to shove. I know McCall's at the very end. I think I'm going to skip some of this. I keep some of these answers sound very, I wouldn't say rehearsed, but too, I'm semi-game bored. So with all due respect, guys, I may peel out. It's been 2 hours. I can maybe do another 30 minutes so we can get through almost all of it in that 30-minute period. But then I'll listen to McCall, and then we'll call it quits there.
His great speech earlier. Which of his economic policies would you continue as governor, and how would you build that foundation to keep Oklahoma economically competitive?
Well, as I mentioned before, I appreciate what he has done here in the state. He's brought his business acumen here to help boost our economy, and now we have surplus in our state coffers. And I have to acknowledge he's done a great job there. His focus on reducing taxes, especially the state income tax, has been commendable, and I would like to take that much further. Of course, I have my sights set on zeroing out our state income tax, and I think this is going to be the most attractive aspect of our state for outside businesses. However, I don't want to just focus on how to attract outside businesses. I want to think about how we can help inside businesses, help Oklahoma businesses thrive and prosper. We have a fixation on how to attract major corporations from around the world, around the nation. So I think we have the talent and the skill and the want-to and the hard work right here in the state. And so I want to think about how we can help small businesses by rolling back regulation and reducing taxes. We're ranked 17th in the nation when it comes to the most regulated states, with 142,313 regulations on the books as of 2024. That's far too many, especially for a state that claims to be red. So we need to, like was mentioned earlier, reduce the number of agencies, boards, and commissions, explore where there's duplicative services, where we can eliminate some agencies, boards, and commissions altogether, and really streamline this whole process to, end goal, make it easier on small business owners. And that will be my focus.
Mr. Sturgill.
I think what our governor has done is he's helped Oklahoma an enormous amount. I think we need to keep moving forward with that. We need to keep focusing on getting rid of our state income tax, and then we need to work on I think we need to have a push towards our trades. I came from the trades, and I think that there is a good avenue for our kids coming out of high school to go and get an education there as an electrician or something like that. They can make good money, and I think that helps Oklahoma, even with national companies wanting to come in.
Great. Mike Mazie, and then go down.
For great, high-paying jobs and prosperity, Oklahoma has to become a no-income tax state. Tennessee's economy the last 10 years has grown.
So I just heard 3 people so far out of 6 just say no income tax. Income tax isn't new. Again, you're going to hear, like, why are we, if this is such a great idea, why haven't we been doing it before? Because no one cared before. So, okay. Anyways, this is why I'm saying I'm kind of getting tired. I'm listening to the same thing. People say the same things again and again. And they're not exactly providing difference other than like, hey, I'm going to do this. Well, I've heard him say it too. So
58% more than ours. Expand Energy, Devon, headquarters, left Oklahoma or leaving Oklahoma for Texas. Why? They're both no income tax states. We better get on board or we're going to get left behind. And that's why in the first year of a Mazie administration, I will introduce a plan to reduce your income tax rate from 4.5% to 3% as step one in a 3-part plan to eliminate Oklahoma's income tax in 6 years. Second, we have to stop.
Good grief. In 6, so what he want, basically he's saying right there is he wants to be reelected. Why in 6? Why not in 4? Because you need to keep me in office so I can reduce the tax rate again. That's what he's going to be banking on. Do it in 4. If you can't do it in 4, then you don't deserve my vote re-election time. And let's be honest, you're probably not going to get through the primary.
Shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars to these foreign companies. It does not make any sense to throw $1 billion worth of tax incentives to a Middle East company that's only going to promise us 1,000 jobs. Instead, let's focus on Oklahoma-based businesses that are right here, right now, with best practices, no interest loans, marketing, growth, strategic advice, and solutions. If 10,000 or when 10,000 Oklahoma companies produce 5 jobs each, it's not really sexy, but that's 50,000 jobs. And those jobs and the money and the taxes and the profits stay here in Oklahoma.
Chip Keating. Yeah, so the Petroleum Alliance sent a very accurate letter to the legislature last year, and I want to mention a line that was in there that stuck out to me. And there's a line from an energy executive in Houston. He said, the Houston skyline is built on the backs of bad policy decisions coming out of Oklahoma and Louisiana. Let that settle in. Day one as governor, I was just endorsed by the by the Oil and Gas Workers Association. That's the largest workers association of oil and gas workers because I'm in the oil and gas business. We have to incentivize existing businesses in our state. We've turned our backs to them far too long. The oil and gas industry is the largest GDP industry in our state, produced $60 billion of GDP last year alone. We need to cut gross production taxes, and I will do this as the next governor, in half if you are headquartered in Oklahoma and operating in Oklahoma. That's how we're going to actually plant our flag of bringing oil and gas back to Oklahoma and bringing these headquarters back to Oklahoma. All we've done in the past is jammed in hard revenue years. We jammed the oil and gas industry. It's what we've done in the past. We don't incentivize them to be in our state and keep those jobs here. We have to be a zero income tax state. Tennessee, 28 years ago, and Oklahoma were the same GDP. Today, they're the 3rd fastest growing state in the country. They fixed their public education and they got modernized their tax system. If we do not do these things, and it's not just taxes, I assume we're going to get into public education here in a second, but we are dead last. 1 in 4 of our 8th graders cannot read. And so we have got many things to fix, but modernizing taxes, fixing public education, running illicit drugs out of our state are amongst the top priorities that in a Chip Keating administration that we will get right after. Lisa Hayes.
Well, I like that we have the 8th fastest growing economy. Thank you, Governor Stitt and Matt Pinnell. I like that more Texans are moving to Oklahoma than the other way around, and that's due to some positive things our state is doing. I like that the state ended the state grocery tax, but I think we need to eliminate the whole grocery tax because people can't feel that tax. And I do like the tax break personally, but I know that people aren't able to get jobs here. College graduates are graduating without being able to get a job. I've talked to 3 people that are single people that are not making enough money to hardly survive, and their tax bill from the Oklahoma Tax Commission is over $1,000 on their taxes, keeping them on public assistance. And they want desperately to get off public assistance. So what I'm going to propose is that anyone making under $50,000, whatever you pay in during the year, you will not pay another penny when you file your taxes. It's not their fault that the Oklahoma tax rolls haven't been updated. Before we can recruit businesses, we need to fix our streets and bridges that are falling apart. We need a plan for education. We need a low, and if you have a plan for education, they'll come. We need to lower our income tax to 3.5%. That's only 1% down, and that's exactly what Arkansas has. We need.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, a lot of these people are going to talk about education, but you kind of need families here in order to fill not fill the churches, fill the schools with teachers. I mean, students, which AKA the children. So if you don't have families that are making children, then what's good of a school? Wow, I stopped at 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. That's impressive.
For our oil and gas to go down from 7%, what they've been paying in for the last 8 years, and that's why we're not drilling. I'm going to lower that to 4% to open it up here in Oklahoma. That's my plan for you.
General Drummond.
Oklahoma can do better. We are last in the nation in education, 48th in healthcare, 47th in mental health. We have squandered generational wealth by appointing friends and donors and political elite. As governor, I will...
Generational wealth. What generations? Don't play this game, Drummond, and say we've squandered generational wealth. Okay, which generations squandered the wealth? Which generation, Drummond? Which generation? because he's probably going to say himself, his own generation, which is going to be funny, because then it's like, well, my generation, we had our reasons. It's like, bruh.
Drive business to Oklahoma, invest in Oklahoma. We will partner with our tribal partners. If they were publicly traded, we would have 3 Fortune 500 companies, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Cherokee, and 1 Fortune 1000 company, Citizens Potawatomi. Instead of fighting with them, we'll partner with them. We will reduce taxes, increase our revenues, ensure that our young people graduate school are workforce ready through career tech and other trades, and we will improve our infrastructure. As governor, I will put Oklahoma first. I will put our people first, and the results will be seen.
Thank you. Next, all right, we're up for the next question here, and we're going to start with Mr. Sturgill down here. Following the controversy at the University of Oklahoma.
Okay, I'll let this one go. I saw this one, and I want to talk about this one briefly. So, but I'm gonna listen probably through the questions and then cycle through. I'm sorry, I can't do 30. We're gonna do 15, but I'll let this one go because this one I kind of want to talk about.
Involving a student penalized for expressing her religious beliefs. What role should the governor play in protecting religious freedom on public campuses in the state of Oklahoma?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what he's bringing up this girl. She posted this assignment into her class Canvas, and OU, the University of Oklahoma, which is a leftist place, so duh, this happened there. The teacher gave her a 0 because she wrote, I think like biological woman or something. There was something about gender norms or whatever. So she gets a 0 on the assignment. She posts it to social media. Social media, does its job. And then, everyone's having this hoo-ha about the teacher. The teacher is, I think, eventually fired. The only thing I'm going to say is I have a letter from my university, because I worked in the University Tutoring Math Learning Success Center in Oklahoma State. And I went through worse persecution than her, and I didn't get, because she got a letter from Representative Gabe Woolley. She got a thing that says, it's like, congrats, look what you did. She got this congratulatory or something a bit because she went through this persecution. She barely went through anything. Like, a lot of people are making more of this than what it actually is. I can tell you, I went into HR multiple times with my boss, who only told me to call her doctor. It was a doctor of mathematics, so not really a doctor. But that's the type of person that she was, and that's the type of person that I had to talk to consistently again and again and again. So when I hear this story, I'm like, this is nothing. This is child's play. Like, if we're having an uproar about this, my story should get me crowned and gifted a Turning Point USA ambassadorship. But it's not, because I'm a man. So she was a woman too. So there, we could also talk that there's a gender reason. I'm not going to say that it is. I'm just saying, I know of one other guy. He dealt with persecution too at OSU. This is not an uncommon thing. So I don't know why we're having this big ass conversation about it. So, anyways, I'm gonna let them answer this. I'm gonna see who's typical conservative, slop conservative, and who's just going to be like, it's a bad thing.
And the governor should step in those situations. It seems to me like in this point in time in our country, in our state, there's a lot of people that abuse their authority. And I think that's what happened in that situation, that the teacher should have known better than that. He was the adult in the room. He didn't stand up and wasn't standing up and doing the adult thing. Anyhow, we need to move in that direction and look for those things that's happening out there.
Was it a he? Wait, was it a transgender? So trans woman? So, okay, maybe, never mind. He's saying the right pronoun. Never mind. Yeah, he's saying the right pronoun. Was it it's been a while since this story happened, so.
Our religious freedoms, we should not take that lightly, and we should really, to tell you the truth, that needs to be the forefront of Oklahoma, to keep our religious rights out in the front, and that's how we legislate and we govern our state. That's the way we need to do that.
I'm going to go down to General Drummond and then come this way.
As Attorney General, I have defended your religious liberty at the Oklahoma Supreme Court and at the United States Supreme Court.
Drummond fought the St. Isidore's Catholic school, the charter school. He fought them getting the child credits, the school credits. So, no, he's actually fought quite aggressively against religious freedom. Just FYI. So, no.
Our religious freedom is sacred. It's the very first of the 4 protections in the First Amendment. Now, we've got the Second Amendment to protect that First Amendment, but our religious freedoms are sacred. I worked with Senator Todd Balhair, and the bill just got passed that protects us as we worship in our churches in the state of Oklahoma. We will not have what happened.
You know why Gellhard posted that bill? Because he was harassed by abolitionists in his church. Because the Protestants were having an argument with the other Protestants about how you should actually be a Christian. That's essentially what went down. They went after him and tried to get him excommunicated from his church. And then they failed. But they failed. And then, you know, how do I put it? They failed to get him excommunicated, and then he proposed this bill so he could be safeguarded from the abolitionists coming after him again. I'll look forward to see. He's up in 2 years. I'd look forward to see if he's got a challenger. He needs to have a challenger, probably, if the abolitionists are going to have any type of meaningful work, or they're just lazies. Because they showed up for one day to harass him, but they're not going to show up to get him out of office. So,
happened in Minneapolis happened in Oklahoma. I'm the only one on this stage who's fought in a foreign war, and that war was fought to defend our rights, what we stand for, so that we can continue to enjoy our religious freedoms and our constitutional protections. My faith is foundational to who I am and what I do, and as your governor, I will always protect your rights as Christians.
Ms. Haynes.
Probably judo.
I think the governor needs to talk to the Board of Regents and remind them that we have freedom of religion and freedom of speech on all campuses. Let me tell you what my plan is for education, since we're talking about that. We are not Common Core. Oklahomans are exceptional. I'm throwing out the Globalist 2030 plan for education. We're getting rid of sight words, going back to phonics to teach kids how to read. We're going to instill a 3rd grade reading test. If they can't read by 3rd grade, they don't pass. We're also going to have an 8th grade reading and comprehension test, because 1 in 4 8th graders cannot read. So we're through dumbing down our children. We're going to instill reading, writing, math, and English back in the classroom. We're going to give PE, art, music, and instruments a chance again in the classroom. They will be in the classroom 6 hours a day learning, not in assemblies. My plan is to send 15 teachers to work for 1 year in Mississippi and Louisiana, because Louisiana was 49th and they went to 16th in 1 year. Those professional teachers will know what the difference is. At the end of the year, we'll open it up to the media. They'll tell what their findings are. Maybe it'll give us a roadmap for what we can do here, because it's more than one topic. It's more than one thing. It's a body of work that we need to work on for the education department. I'll work hand in hand with the state school superintendent to appoint those board members for him. And we don't want to fight with them like we've had for 8 years. We want to work as a team, because that's where we can move forward faster.
Chip Keating.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be of my conservative Christian values. The reality is, to allow the freedom of religion to be under attack in our schools, we've got to step back. I think there's a multitude of problems in our state. We've talked about the judiciary, but we also need to talk about tenure at these universities all across our state in higher education. The governor appoints these regents, and the Senate confirms these regents. If we are appointing regents that are not mandating rules at these institutions of higher education, that are not protecting students' right to religious freedom and liberties, we need to, and I will, remove those regents immediately. But this goes further.
Mind you, we are a Republican. Oklahoma is a Republican, Republican supermajority. If that be the case, why didn't Stitt fire the people who tried in OU and OSU to make a mask mandate? Yeah.
Tenure in higher education has gotten out of control. We have seen that these professors become untouchable. We have a massive accountability problem in our state. The government does not work for her people. And it is time that we wake up and modernize the government that is ours. And as your governor, I will not stand back. I'm not afraid to take on the liberal trial bar in the judiciary. I've worn body armor for a living. I know what it is like to be in very dangerous situations. We need a governor that has courage and leadership to not just talk the talk, but just as President Trump has done. Promises made, promises kept. And that is exactly what I will do as your governor.
Mike Vasey.
There will be no true religious freedom on our college campuses until we root out DEI, radical left wokeism. The governor and the legislature did ban DEI, but OU just
The HR woman I was talking to was a progressive Christian. It's not the left that's a villain. It's theology. Bad theology is the villain in this entire story. In my story and many others. So I don't think people should be throwing the blame that it's the left and that is the reason that we are under attack. No. We are also under attack by our own brethren who don't have a courageous spirit within themselves. So yeah, don't get that
rebranded the DEI office to the Office of Access and Opportunity. As a matter of fact, there are still courses like the required leadership class in Oklahoma wherein you get to page 3 of the textbook, and it's a whole section on the focus of equity should dominate everything you work on. Well, in a Mazie administration, I will sign an executive order that will forbid and prohibit DEI-based radical wokeism in the curriculum and offices and activities and programs. And think about this. Remember when Congress hauled in before committee those Ivy League woke presidents of Harvard and Columbia and exposed for the entire country the toxic culture in our college campuses because of DEI wokeism? Well, I will work with the legislature to bring in front of a tribunal the presidents of OU, OSU, and UCO, and they will explain to the legislature and the people of Oklahoma how they are eradicating and eliminating DEI from curriculum and our campuses.
And finally, Jake Merrick.
There's so many agendas out there with a climate change agenda. We have the LGBTQ alphabet agenda. And I only have one agenda, and that's to protect the Constitution, the God-given rights of Oklahomans. And in our universities, that fundamental right of religion, of protecting your free speech is critical. It's the reason it's the first. As a former professor, this was my understanding. I was not there to force my ideas or ideologies onto my students, but it was to help them to think critically, which is something I think that we have to reclaim in our society, is this idea of critical thinking again. But we want professors there that are teaching our young adults, not our children, but our young adults at the universities on how to think critically and how to work through ideas and not force their own ideologies down on those in their classroom, which is what we're seeing consistently. We wonder how we see these DEI policies and the LGBTQ agenda in our rural schools. How do these end up in Stroud and in Cherokee and in Hollis, Oklahoma? Well, it's because the teachers attended these universities. And they're taught to pass this on down to the children in their classrooms. And so if we want to clean up our rural schools across Oklahoma, we have to go upstream of where this starts, and it's in the classrooms in our universities. We have to hold them accountable. We have to sit down with the regents and only have strong conservatives on our board of regents. They're going to influence the curriculum and those on staff in our universities. There's so much more I could say on that one, but yes, we have to give strong attention to our universities and have that sit down. I agree with Mike there. Bring them into the office and let's vet them and say, how are you weeding out these ideologies in our universities?
All right, thank you. Next question. I'm going to start with General Drummond. In the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8 defines the powers of Congress, and in the 9th and 10th Amendments define the authority of the people and of the states. What is your position on state sovereignty, and how, as governor, would you protect it?
State sovereignty matters. The
Okay.
10th Amendment.
Fair.
As your governor, I'll audit, consolidate, require transparency. We will end insider deals.
Inside the Republican Party when we have these forums. I'm going to start with Ms. Haynes on this one. Would you support and promote reducing the size of state government, and what specific areas do you believe could be eliminated or reduced if you were elected governor?
Okay, I'm not going to say that like small government is the way, right? It's proper government. So whether or not the size is large doesn't necessarily it doesn't impact in the same way, right? Like small government doesn't mean that's the best government. It's just that because if you have not enough government, then people can do what people wish to do. And let's be honest, a lot of Christians, they do what they wish to do, not what they ought to do. So, if you did have a large government, though, you need to put in those safe rails to ensure that everyone is doing what is proper in society. So I'm going to skip that one as well.
Mr. Sturgill, we're going to start with you. We're going to go this way.
Damn, I am on fire. This is like the third time I've clicked right onto it.
What is your perspective on data centers? You may have heard of them recently.
I don't care. Half don't care.
Jake Merrick. You can find out more at jakemerrickforgovernor.com. Had his
percent behind President Trump and his policies.
Darn. Closing statement. Okay, this is closing statements. I don't care. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to listen to McCall. So anyways, thank you all for watching. My name is Eli Richard. I'm running for District 6 of the State House of Oklahoma. I would appreciate your vote on June 16th. And yeah, there's just been a few things that I'm looking at. I've got a forum in April in Craig County. I would appreciate everyone to show up. I think it's like the 24th. Hold on, let me pop up a calendar. I kind of remember what time frame it was. 23rd. Sorry, 23rd. The fourth Thursday. Yeah, fourth Thursday of the month of May. April. Sorry, April. So, anyways, excuse me. That's it. I'll see you all guys some other time whenever I'm needing to talk with y'all. But yeah, other than that, I look forward to seeing you all hopefully as a state rep again. If I've not done more recently. Other than that, I think that's it. You can find me at www.elirichard4okhouse.com. I would appreciate on the donation site if you could help me out. I definitely need some funds. Please help me out there. Please, thank you, and I appreciate your support. If not, hit the like, subscribe, everything else that YouTuber does, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night, and hopefully Oklahoma is better off in this next election cycle. Peace.